Resource Network. I'm Kira, and I'm really happy to be with you here today. I am pre-recorded today. It's the last in our holiday week of pre-recorded videos, so I am so excited to be back live with you on Thursday at 7 p.m. That is New Year's Eve, but I'm not going anywhere. So I'll be here, and I'm hoping that you'll get a chance to be there as well. I've really missed chatting with you guys. Thanks to everyone who's dropped a comment on my videos, on the pre-recorded ones. If I haven't found your comment yet, it could be because I don't know where I'm looking. I have forgotten a couple places that I need to check and things like that, but I am learning and I am working on it, and I will get to your comment. So please do say hi. Let me know you're seeing this. Let me know how you've been, how you're doing, and what you think of what we're talking about today. And please do come and chat with me on Thursday. It will be our last Living from the Inside episode. I know, right? It's going to be so weird. I have enjoyed talking to you guys so much over the past 4 months. It's really been 4 months. It started at the beginning of September. Yep, just counting, making sure. And I know that it has been extremely helpful for me to be here talking with you, to take the time to focus on all of these things that we can be doing to be more comfortable at home, to remain connected to our world, even as we're spending a lot more time confined. So this has been amazing. I've been really happy to be here with you guys, and I've learned so much. So please say hi, and I'd love to chat with you before we go and move on to whatever adventure comes next, right? For the episode next week, on Thursday of this week, I want to talk about some of the things that we've gone over in the sessions that we've had so far in the last 4 months, and the things that have really stuck with me and that have made a really big difference. I mentioned to you guys before that I printed pictures of my, Corona life and put them all over my office. That is something that continues to bring me joy every week, every day. And there have been some other things that have really stuck with me as well through this time, and that I'm going to carry on and are going to help me to have a more well-rounded wellness toolkit, a more well-rounded approach to my emotional health. So if there has been anything that has stuck out to you, I'd really love to hear about it. Let me know. And yeah, I'd like to know what resonates with you, and also what you have to share with other people that can give them hope and give them some comfort during this time as well. Everything we can get, right? I think this community, sharing our experience and going through this together is very powerful. It has definitely helped me feel like I am not facing this alone. Obviously, we all know that we're going through this together, but that doesn't mean that the way that we feel about how it's impacting us personally, we necessarily think that everyone is feeling it the same way. But having these times that we can get together and talk about what we're going through and share what has been working for us is extremely powerful. So thank you all for being here, and please let me know, your favorite tips and tricks, your favorite surviving the pandemic moments. I was just thinking that this is something there needs to be a handbook for. After we're done with this, we can make something that's like how to survive a pandemic. Hopefully we'll never need it again. But it might be kind of cathartic to put it together anyway, right? I think it would. Feeling like if something crazy happens again, I'm prepared for it. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about emotional hangovers. I know, another really uplifting topic, right? But unfortunately, that's kind of where we are right now. But the important thing is we're also going to talk about what to do about them. And that's the thing. We may not be able to stop the pandemic or the way that we're experiencing life right now, but we can take steps to move forward in a healthy and, emotionally conscious way. And I know that we can do that together. So we're going to talk about that today as well. The first thing that I want to say is to everyone who celebrates, Merry Christmas. I hope that it was wonderful and filled with joy and light and love and all of those beautiful, wonderful things. For those who don't celebrate Christmas, I wish the very same to you, for happy holidays or happy weekend or happy sparkle season or whatever it is you're celebrating right now. And we should be celebrating right now. We should celebrate every minute of survival that we've had this year. So I hope that everyone is having a great day. And, you know, if you're not, let us know what we can do to help. Let us know what you need. The Christmas has been a wonderful focal point for me, for my energies. We celebrate secular Christmas here, so I have poured a lot of my frustration and my angst and my fears and my disappointment into Christmas. It's been a very nice place to throw all of that. I'm very disappointed this year that we weren't able to do some of our holiday traditions. I'm really disappointed we weren't able to see the people that we love to see over the holidays, our friends and family. It's, you know, trying not to say it's heartbreaking. It is for everyone to be safe. And I love, love, love my friends and family, and I want them safe. It's still really hard. And so I channeled a lot of that into making Christmas, you know, as much as I can in the house. And it was sparkly, and we had a beautiful Christmas Eve dinner, and the music and presents, of course, and just magic everywhere. Gingerbread houses, and I don't know, just as anything that I could think to put in it. We did crafts and we did everything. And now today I'm a little bit like, well, now what? Not because Christmas was disappointing, but because it's over. And now I am kind of feeling all of the Corona disappointment that I have been trying to put off to the side. And I'm calling it my emotional hangover. Emotional hangovers are a real thing. They are so real that there's an article on WebMD about them, though that one has to do with memory. And I'm more talking about survival when it comes to emotional hangovers. Still, it is a real thing. It's that kind of, I don't know, raw, hollowed out feeling that you get after a major stressful event or a prolonged stress or a traumatic event. And a lot of it has to do with social situations. Not always. You can have it from any kind of traumatic event, but I find that social tends to be a really big one, because we take some of that stress maybe a little bit harder than we do other stress, and we process it in a slightly different way. So whether Christmas was wonderful or whether it was not what you were hoping for, it's a lot to process. And this year especially, I know a lot of families haven't had the same idea of how Christmas should be handled as far as traveling and getting together, and that's caused some pretty tense situations. Same thing with friends, same thing, with partners. It's really difficult when in a situation like this, when people don't see kind of exactly eye to eye, because there's so much stress on either side. There's the stress of not seeing the family. There's the stress of fear of exposure, and everyone's risk tolerance is a little bit different. So there's a lot of room for tension and social upheaval, right? And then the really weird thing to me today is, okay, got through Christmas, right? Like all of this effort, all of this energy, like, come on. We've got to be able to make this magical. Like no matter what's going on right now, this is going to be magical. And like, I did it. And then today we're still in a pandemic. And I sort of feel like after going through all of that work, and I know it sounds silly because I'm talking about making Christmas special, but it really in my head, it was like surviving this time that was so different and without my support group, without my friends and family. I made it about sparkle and I made it about lights, but it was really about the loss of what I felt Christmas should be. And there's a double-decker loss there for me too, because I don't celebrate with my actual biological family. I do with my husband and my daughter, but not with my parents and my siblings, and I haven't in a long time. So there's that loss that I feel every year. And then there's the loss of my chosen family and friends that I normally celebrate with. It felt like a lot. And so I tried to kind of ignore it. I mean, I acknowledged it, but I tried to channel it into the best Corona Christmas you could ever have. And it was great. But now it feels like after all of that, I should get my normal life back. Doesn't it feel that way sometimes? Like, it's so weird to be on the other side of such a big moment and still be here in my home in the middle of a pandemic. It's like I'm still processing, I'm having trouble coming up with some of the words for it, because it's like we've been talking about how we're in the middle of this traumatic event and trying to process it at the same time. And we kind of have to process one thing after another with this pandemic, right? For everybody, it's been a little bit different, but there have been, stay-at-home orders and job losses and the loss of loved ones and school closures. And it's like one thing after another, and we're just trying to process. And so now it's been the holidays. And for a lot of us, that meant staying home. And for a lot more who, may not have stayed home, it still meant something completely different than what they're used to. I hope you all stayed home. I hope you did, because the numbers out there are pretty scary. And I've been trying not to obsessively watch them. It has helped with my mental health to be generally aware and not moment by moment aware. Although I have been watching the vaccine rolls out because that gives me hope. So I'm a little more obsessive in that, but it makes me feel like the end is coming. So it's a little bit different. But anyway, so it's one more thing to process. And then here comes 2021. And we've been talking about 2020 and the dumpster fire that this year has been. I've seen great ornaments about that. But here's the thing. 2021 is coming in a week, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So it's hard to keep processing and to keep feeling like we're getting hit with the next thing and the next thing. So first of all, you're doing awesome. You're here. You're moving forward. You are a survivor, and you're doing great. This is a very, very tough time. And if you guys are anything like me, I'm giving myself a hard time that life isn't, perfect right now and all of that. But also, what we're going through right now is, imagine if the whole world weren't going through this. Like, let's think about that for a second. Imagine 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you knew someone who for health reasons or safety reasons had to stay in their home with no access to the outside world, or very little, masked to the stores and very little access to the outside world for a year. What would you have thought? Holy cow, how did you survive that? Right? Well, we're all in it. And to varying degrees, of course, but we're all in the middle of this giant event that is having a massive impact on our support systems, our social support systems, our physical support systems. I mean, a lot of us don't have access to the places and the things that we used to. We don't have access to childcare and school systems in a lot of cases, or they're very heavily modified. Like, it's pretty crazy out there. So just the fact that we're here today and we're surviving is awesome. So bravo to you. And remember to give yourself that credit. Give yourself that credit. This is really hard and you're doing awesome. So about that emotional hangover. Are you having one? I would like to know. I don't want to know that you all are having emotional hangovers, but I would like to know how you're experiencing these big events. Are they hitting you in the same way? Or maybe you're getting a lot of joy from these events and they're not giving you that emotional drop off. And if that's the case, I want to hear that too. I just want to know, what your experience is. I tend to be an emotional hangover person anyway. This is a term that I have known for a long time. It's something that I've experienced, and strangely, it happens most often for me with the things that are the most special in my life, I guess. Like the day after graduation, I'm a wreck. Or, events like that, when they're really good or they have all this build up or I'm really excited for them, that I almost don't know what to do with myself the next day. Like, well, where do I put all of my anxious energy now? So Corona didn't bring me all this anxious energy. It's just given me another facet. It's something that I've dealt with for a long time. And unfortunately, once Corona is over, a lot of us will still be dealing with a lot of the same emotional struggles that we've had all along. So the things that we talk about here for dealing through this pandemic, for making us more comfortable in our homes in this situation, they can be carried on and be part of your wellness toolkit that takes you into a better place in the future, which is what I'm hoping to do as well. I want a long, strong, emotionally well future. And I know that I'll have to work at that even once Corona's over. And maybe even harder once Corona's over, because I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Once, I don't know, our focus changes, I guess. But some of the things to do for an emotional hangover, if that is something you're experiencing, is, a lot of just emotional wellness to begin with, is taking care of yourself. This may not just be because of the holidays. If you've had it out with a family over anything, holidays, politics, social justice, any of the hot button issues that are out right now, and you might wake up the next day feeling angry, guilty, because maybe you said something that maybe you shouldn't have in the heat of the moment, embarrassed, maybe it was said in front of other people, or maybe this is something that you're going to have to address again or apologize for. Things like that. It happens all the time, not just holiday related. And I think in Corona it happens more because there's just a lot more import on everything. Like, everything seems a lot, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but everything just seems a lot more serious now, and everything has to be more perfect in the way that we interact with people, because if there is one slight disagreement, then things blow up, and it's just, there's so much tension. I saw something online And I thought it made a lot of sense. I'm trying to remember exactly how it goes. I really got to write these things down. But it was that if everybody seems really mad at you right now, or like you can't do anything right, it might not be you. It's that right now, everyone needs more than is available to be given. And that's so true, right? We just all need more than there is. I was struggling with something the other day, and my husband offered to help, and I was like, I appreciate it, but with what time and what energy? Like, it was very sweet of him to offer, but he also had nothing to give. He was staying up really late, working on something for work. He had to get up early. I was dealing with something else, like the little one needed something. There was nothing to give. And what we need is some like injection of time and energy, which usually comes in the form of school or babysitters or, a night off or something. It's not happening right now. So I thought that made a lot of sense. And it helped inform some of the ways that I've been looking at relationships with other people during this time too, because maybe they're not as easy as they were before the pandemic. Maybe there just isn't enough to go around right now. So I'm interested if you guys are feeling something similar, and what you think of that sentiment. So let me know. So back to the emotional hangover, taking care of yourself. Kind of like when you have a real hangover, right? You have to take care of yourself a little bit. Some of the steps are a little bit different though. You do need to eat well. Maybe not a bacon, egg, and cheese, but eat well. This time of year, there's a lot more alcohol and a lot more sugar going around. At least in my circles, there usually is. Though since we've been home this year, we've been able to curb it a little bit. But you did hear about the gingerbread houses and all the treats and stuff. So there tends to be a lot more of that. And for anybody who's ever had a glass of wine or a handful of jelly beans, when they are stressed out, you know that these chemicals do impact our emotions. And so when we're struggling from an emotional hangover, having sugar and alcohol might make it worse. It might not make you feel the best and get you back to your peppy self as soon as possible. So very hard during the holidays, but try to eat as well as you can. Drink lots of water. Be outside in nature. Things that are good for your emotional wellness anyway. Are good things to do for this emotional hangover. Connect with people. Even if part of your emotional hangover is that you're mad at people. Family is the one that comes to mind this time of year. But even if one of the reasons that you're struggling is because you're feeling disconnected from people, or, there's been some tension in the relationships because of different ways of approaching what is going on in our world right now, remember that connecting with people is, it's important for your emotional well-being, and it is something that'll make it better in the long run. You don't have to connect with the exact person that you're super mad at right now, but just make sure that you're not isolating yourself from a larger group of people than you need to, because it's really important for us to have our peeps. And especially right now when it's so hard to feel connected to the people around us, make sure that you're still putting that energy in and reaching out and doing those FaceTimes. The FaceTimes with a special drink or a special activity, I think, are pretty awesome. Do drive-bys, or, I do socially distanced drinks, which is everybody brings their own stuff. And by everybody, I mean like 2 or 3 people at a time, brings their own stuff and sits pretty far apart. And it's kind of like step over there, but at least I get to see them in person. You know what I'm saying? So it's driveway drinks, maybe you need a bubble. Maybe you haven't spent a lot of time with your bubble lately because things have been different for the holidays. Maybe reconnect with your bubble. Find ways to get that connection that you need within the constraints of being safe. It's really important. So don't let this be an extra excuse to isolate yourself, okay? Oh, can you hear that? Speaking of not wanting to isolate yourself, I have tried. I don't know if you guys have noticed, my cat hasn't been as present in my videos lately. I've been trying to shut her out of the room, and she's clawing her at the door, going, "Let me in, I want to socialize." But not right now. So other things that you can do to help when you're feeling that emotional hangover is to exercise. Now, that's a weird one for me because exercise often comes with this like overwhelming, I don't know, I make it a way bigger deal than it needs to be. Just move your body. Move your body, dance party, go for a walk, whatever. When I say exercise or I read it, I'm like, great, I have to run a marathon or like learn to kickbox or something. It just means move your body. It's interesting. I used to move a lot more before coronavirus, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't know. I guess we were just out and going to Target and going to the park and just doing stuff. We used to walk through the grocery store for an hour a week, and now we sit on the computer and order groceries. So all these tiny ways that things that used to be more active are now done sitting down. And it's weird because I didn't realize how much my activity level had changed. I don't think it did as much for my husband because he still works in a desk and everything. So he's used to taking breaks and walking around and being conscious of that. And I kind of wasn't, just because my role didn't change, but my activities changed in the way that they were playing out. So I don't know. I realized that I was not moving as much throughout the day. Maybe more bursts of movement, like, okay, we have to be more intentional about going for a walk or something. But as far as being up and about throughout the day, it didn't. So being aware of that and adjusting for that has helped me feel more loose throughout the day, I guess. Seems like a weird word to use, but it's really true. So I'm not like stiffening up. I'm a very tense person, and I hold everything tight. Like I hold my muscles tight and everything. So if I'm not physically moving, then my body gets really tight and sore. And so now that I'm conscious of that, I can do something about it. Because when I worked in a desk too, which I did before my daughter was born, I again was conscious and was like, okay, it's been, an hour. I have to stand up on my desk and turn around and whatever. I don't know. It's just a little bit different. But it's something to be aware of. And I think it can be really beneficial. So what are some things that we do about this whole emotional hangover situation going forward? Because, we're still here in the pandemic. But the important part is we're still here. And that's a high five. I think that looking forward to 2021, for me, getting out of a little bit of this post-holiday funk is going to come with goal setting. And I do not mean resolutions. I am not a resolution person. Some people may say same thing, goals versus resolutions, but not to me. A resolution to me, and maybe this is just my own internalizing of it and the way that I've heard people talk about it over the years, but it's like, oh, well, this year I'm going to finally stop being lazy and start, running every day. Well, the way that people talk about resolutions usually starts with, I'm going to stop being something wrong and start doing something right. And it's a huge change. Like go from lazy to running every day. And whether or not I run every day right now, spoiler, I don't. I'm not doing wrong right now. Like, I'm doing the best I can. And there's never been a year that I've gotten to the end of the year and been like, man, you sucked at that year. Like, I may not have achieved all the goals that I wanted to, but life happens, right? And I always know that I'm trying. And so it seems really harsh to like beat myself up for where I am on December 31st and try to be a whole different person on January 1st. One, I know it's not likely that I'm going to run every day in 2021. I do love to run. That is why I'm using that. And I do want to run more in 2021. But I'm not going to start doing it every day. And I'm not going to set some crazy daily expectation that is, one, going to set me up for failure and to feel terrible about myself. And two, expects me to be in an extremely different place on January 1st than I was on December 31st. Like, that's the part that I think is really weird for me about resolutions. Because like I said, I'm not trying now, right? Like, I'm not over here like I'm just going to coast until Jan 1. I'm still doing what I can in life. And so thinking that I'm going to wake up one morning on a day that I will likely have some kind of emotional hangover to begin with, and I'm going to just decide to change my life that day is, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't work for me. If it works for you, awesome. Tell me your mindset. Tell me how you think about it and what makes it work for you. I would love to know. For me, though, I love goals. I love goals. Like, I get all excited just thinking about goals. I don't know why, but I do. And 2020, it's interesting because I did not achieve the goals that I put in my planner for the year. It was the first year that I actually sat down and put like goals with the dates on them and was really structured about it because I wanted it to be a big year for my writing. I didn't do it. I didn't hit any of the goal targets. But I wrote a new book. And that's huge to me. And I don't know, there needs to be some room in our goal setting to appreciate the things that we did that maybe we didn't write down. Maybe there's some room to surprise ourselves. So I like goals because to me they offer more flexibility, but yet something to strive towards. And you know, as I mentioned with the whole channeling my anxiety into holidays, sometimes I don't know where to go if I don't have a target for all of that. So even though there may need to be some flexibility, I think it's fun to plan out goals and to look forward to something and to be excited about it and to anticipate it. And then when you achieve it, bam, like that's a pretty awesome feeling, right? So let's talk about goals in 2021. I want to show you, I got this. It's like, oh my goodness, it is so massive, okay? The 2021 Author's Planner. Now this is some serious planning here. But what I really like about it is that it gives me a place to dream about and explore possibilities for 2021. Because putting I want to write another book on paper is great, but it's really big. And we talked about when it came to decluttering and doing things in small pieces, the dopamine cycle that you get into because you actually release dopamine in anticipation as you come close to achieving a goal, and then achieving a goal gives you a boost too. So, you know, you're getting towards it, you're getting the boost, and you're getting there and you hit your goal, and then you have that kind of like feel good and that extra motivation to move into the next task, and you just keep yourself going. And I love that. And writing a book takes a long time. it's tough to kind of keep that motivation going for a goal that big. So something like this gives me a way to break it down. But also, if there's a moment when like I'm not sure what I should be doing, or I want to be working towards my goal, but I just can't knock any words out right now. Like the thoughts aren't coming, and I'm not writing effectively. I can go through my planner and put some stuff in there and brainstorm, and I don't know, it makes me feel connected to my goal, even if I can't be working on it directly. And I think that's big, because if we get too far away from our goals, which I did for years and years and years, if we get too far away from our goals, it's hard to put the little bit of energy that we can find into them, because we don't feel that we're moving forward enough, or we're progressing, or it's worthwhile, or anything like that. So this book is going to help me feel that every little bit that I'm doing towards my writing career this year is worthwhile. It's getting somewhere. And I don't know, it's just fun. I'm kind of nerdy like that. I like to see that I'm achieving things, and doing things in that way. And for the record, my goal is to write 2 new books this year. I want to write 2. One in during Camp Nano, and it's in April. I think it's April. And the other one in November. And then I also plan to edit 2 of my other books this year. Those are huge goals for me. I know some people can knock out a book in a month, and not me. Well, first draft, but I take a few drafts. But they're really big goals for me, and they are, they're not something that I'm going to do in a week. So to keep that dopamine going, I need to have somewhere that I can see the achievements that I'm making throughout. And that's important to me. So I'd love to know what your goals are. What do you want to do in 2021? What is going to pull you out of this funk that we're in right now? What is going to help you get into the new year? This new year is strange because, like we've talked about, there's this sort of thing in our brains that 2020 is over, right? This crazy year that was 2020 is about to end. But the situation that we're in is not. The pandemic will keep going on. The restrictions that we're in will keep going on. The social justice issues are far from worked out. These things will continue, and we don't know exactly what returning to life is going to look like yet. There's going to be a lot to navigate there as well. So we're in a weird place, and we need some things for ourselves to keep us going forward. You got to. I know there's no time. But you have to, because it's how you get through. Okay? You can do it. So the writing one is a big one for me. What are big ones for you? I have more that I'll share with you. I love to run. I ran a half marathon like 70 bazillion years ago. I'm actually trying to think of how long. 12 years ago, I think. I want to run another one. I do. I will not run a half marathon in 2021. Nope. I'm not going to be ready yet. But you know what I would really like to do is run a 5K. And maybe if it's a good year, I'd love to run a 10K. Those are goals that I have for 2021. And it's not run every day. And, it's not that restrictive, because I don't know what this year is going to be like. I don't know what kind of challenges it's going to bring. And I want to know that I'm taking care of myself and achieving my goals, even with those things that come up. And I don't want to feel, because I have a bad week or a bad month even, that I'm failing, right? We don't need to feel that way. We are surviving right now and we're doing awesome. So I think this is maybe not the year for harsh resolutions. Even though after 2020, I mean, I feel like I know a lot of people who are ready for some harsh resolutions, but maybe this isn't the year. Because we need goals that will carry us forward and carry us through without beating us down. Nobody needs tough love right now. Life is giving us tough love right now, and we don't need to give that to ourselves. So my goals are, broader. They're not an everyday or an every week thing. And I don't know, I'm kind of excited about having new goals to look forward to and new things to achieve. So those are some of mine. I'm trying to think, I have other ones too. But I don't know there. I mean, I have some business plans and some things at home and stuff too, but I don't really consider those the motivating goals that I'm talking about right now. I mean, we moved into our house 3.5 years ago now, and the walls were this, did I tell you guys this? I don't know if I told you this. I tell everybody this. They were this like green, this like oxidizing avocado green. Not a bright avocado green, like that brownish avocado green. And in the dining room, avocado green on the top, coral on the bottom. Not even joking. So we painted really fast after we moved in. I mean, not the first weekend or anything, but really fast for us. And now my house downstairs is purple and green, and I love it. But we never painted the trim. So the people before us had also painted themselves. And so there's like this line of avocado that goes around the trim. On like the bathroom door and stuff like that. It's terrible. It's been like that for 3.5 years now. So every year it is my goal to paint the trim in my house. Clearly does not happen any year, but I thought maybe this would be the year. We've already been home for 9 months. Maybe, if we're home 6 months more, I'll get the trim painted. That is not a motivating goal for me. That is a to-do list item that I probably should get done before the end of forever. I don't know. But I don't count that as something that really gets me excited to get going. And I think there's a big difference in there. And when it comes to dealing with an emotional hangover and trying to bring myself up from it, giving myself a to-do list is not going to help in the same way that giving myself a goal is. So think about that when you're giving them to yourself, especially because, don't get me wrong, I would love to live in a house with white trim and not avocado green stringed trim. I was going to say it's really not as bad as I'm describing, but it's possible that it is, and I've just kind of gotten used to it over the years. But so even though the end goal of that is really nice, the process isn't something that kind of makes me want to get out of bed and get something done in the morning. And so that would not be particularly motivating for me. So be conscious of that when you're talking to yourself about your goals for 2021 or your goals for this week or next month or whatever it is. But when you're talking to yourself about this future in which you achieve things, just try to not ignore things that just need to be done because they need to be done, but try to focus on the things that'll really kind of lift you up a little bit as we carry through. And if you don't have those things on your list right now, then maybe try to find some. What would be really motivating to you? What is something you really want to do for yourself in the next year? Maybe it is as, well, I was going to say is simple, but it's not simple at all. Maybe it's building your emotional toolkit, and so that you have it and you're taken care of, and your wellness becomes paramount. If your wellness hasn't been a critical part of your routine this past year, then it's definitely time for that to become the case. And again, I know there's no time. But something else has to give before you do. Because, we can't do anything for anyone else when we aren't taking care of ourselves, right? We can for a while, but eventually we're going to run out of steam. And we're not going to be able to take care of the people around us in the same way if we're not putting something back in. So we have to take care of ourselves first. And sometimes that means letting something else slide. And that's okay. Your house may be a mess. You may be eating mac and cheese for the third day in a row from a box. Those things aren't as critical as you taking care of yourself. So your emotional wellness needs to be a primary component of your 2021 plan. It should be every year, right? Like, we all need to be taking care of ourselves every year, and we need to give each other the space to take care of ourselves too, right? I think that that's hard sometimes, and I think that we don't always give each other the grace and the space that we need. We need to be doing that. But after this year, we all need to recover a little bit. So even if emotional wellness has not been at the list of priorities in previous years, I think this year is the year to put it up there. It's up there for me. My writing is part of my emotional wellness. I'm very fortunate in that regard, that it's my career and something that makes me happy and gives me a lot of release. I get a lot of emotions out through my writing. Writing is another thing that I'm going to be doing for my emotional wellness, and that's for my physical wellness too. And then art is something that I want to explore more. I have some goals around that as well for this year, and I created a space for it. It's the first time. I have been buying art supplies from Michael's since I was, 12, and with my first babysitting job. And some of them I've had this whole time and I haven't done anything with because I've been so intimidated by the process. But for the first time in my life, I created a space in my home for art. It's a little bit messy right now, and it may also encroach on my husband's office space a little bit. I'm trying to organize. But it's the first time I've had space for it. And I love it. I love it. And I want to continue to explore that. I think that's going to be a great outlet for me as well. So those are the things that I'm doing for me. What are you doing for you? Because, I don't know, our resolutions are always about, well, maybe not always, but the ones that I hear about from other people are usually around how to improve, right? I'm going to be more budget conscious this year. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to take more classes or learn this thing or whatever. And those things are great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, trying to better ourselves and to do things to learn and to improve our lives and all of that stuff is great. But they tend to focus on things that we perceive as flaws that need to be erased and fixed. And I encourage you to think about setting goals for 2021 that are about taking care of yourself, not fixing yourself, taking care of yourself. There's a really big difference. Yeah, I think we're really hard on ourselves. A lot of us are. And this isn't the year to do that. This isn't the year. Um, yeah, I guess I'm really kind of stuck on the whole self-love thing as we get to the end of the year. And part of that is me processing my emotional hangover from Christmas being over. And I'm like, oh gosh, what do I do next? And even just talking to you guys about my plans for next year, which I've been mulling about for months, as if I could, hurry through coronavirus and into my goals out on the other side. But the idea of, I don't know, exploring things that make me feel stronger and make me feel like I'm contributing. And I don't know, making me feel like I'm growing into someone that I'm proud to be. Like, that's the direction I want to go. I don't want to make goals to fulfill societal expectations, if that makes sense. I want to do the things that really help me become the person that I want to be, which I know I'm not exactly 20 years old or anything, but we're always growing and we should always be moving towards the person we want to be. Unless you're there. If you're there and you are the person you want to be, that is fantastic. And I'm super proud of you and I would love to hear about it. Like, tell me what that feels like, and tell me how you got there. That would be super cool. I would like to be there one day. I would like to one day go like, yes, I'm exactly who I was meant to be. And I'm on the path. So I'm heading there. There was something else I was going to mention, which completely just popped out of my brain. So I'm just going to keep talking and see if it comes back. But it was the self-love part, thinking about everything that I tried to do for Christmas to make it wonderful. And now that I'm suffering a little bit on the other side because of that, I have to give myself a little bit of credit. My family had a wonderful day too. And, we may have forgotten to take a lot of pictures, but we did take some. And we had a beautiful day and a great memory. And we can think back and go, you know what? Corona Christmas wasn't so bad after all. And I have to think, I just have to keep looking at these pictures around me. These pictures I put up because of you guys, and just think, Corona life really, wasn't as bad as it could have been either. We've tried really hard to keep a lot of magic going. I've tried to keep a lot of magic going. And I have to give myself some self-love for that too. It's been hard and it's taken a lot out of me. As the things we do every day during Corona take a lot out of us. But I'm actually sitting here a moment, kind of coming out of this emotional hangover a little bit and going, you know what, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. So yeah. Thanks for being here to listen to me talk through this and to talk through this experience myself. I don't think that we give ourselves enough time and enough space to process a lot of what we're going through. Sometimes we just kind of, oh yeah, this is tough, and move on, or oh yeah, that was a traumatic event, and move on. And sometimes we just need to talk about it. And I don't know, it's weird right now to call someone up and talk about how you're experiencing coronavirus, right? It feels like venting. It feels like bringing the whole situation back down again, or sometimes we want to call people right now to talk about absolutely anything else, right? Because that's what we've been experiencing for so long. But I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here in this moment. And, if there's anything I can do to help you process as well what you're going through, I want to hear what this experience is like for you, because it's important to get it out and let it air. and to have that moment to be like, you know what, I'm doing pretty all right. I'm doing pretty all right. So next week, again, it's going to be the last episode of Living from the Inside. And so thank you so much for being with me on this journey. We're going to talk about some of my favorite things that we've discussed through the 4 months that we've been doing this. So please comment if you have something that you would like to talk about, or even if you have something that we haven't talked about, something that's been carrying you through this time, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, it'll be great to be live next week. I'm so excited about that. And I hope you guys are there with me as well. And if not live, leave your comments. I will get back to you. It's always so great for me to see that you're listening and to hear what you have to say and what's going on in your lives. And also, you know, like, share, spread the community around. This community has meant so much to me during these few months, and I hope to stay connected with you guys, and I will definitely stay connected with PRN as we move into 2021. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you have a good closeout to 2020, and I will see you on New Year's Eve. So thanks so much. See you guys soon.